Hey everyone, in the news this week. Well, Manchester City have been on a run worse than a Saudi Arabian doctor at a German Christmas market. This was, of course, the news that a Saudi national plowed a car into a Christmas market, killing 5 and injuring more than 200 people. Just looking at some of the major news outlets, the attack was blamed on a car, a vehicle, a BMW, a car, an automobile. And in one desperate attempt to quell the speculation about who might be involved in it, the German government tried to suggest that the Saudi terrorist was actually a right-wing member of the AfD. It's a display of detective work that they haven't tried since the aftermath of the Reichstag fire, although luckily nobody's buying that particular story. It makes me nostalgic for the era when we didn't need, quote, fact-checkers, although in retrospect we only realised we needed them when the truth started getting out. As to that horrific scene in Germany, for what it's worth, a friend of mine saw the footage and said about the tragedy that if you think that's bad, you should see what the BMWs and the M3 are like. I mean, I remember years ago seeing a BMW driver using their indicators, so I did the correct thing and phoned up to report the car stolen. Anyway, talking about people that members of polite society generally look down on, Peter Mandelson was back in the news after Keir Starmer appointed him ambassador to America, a move which was met there in part by bemusement because he's pretty much an unknown figure in the States, unless you're a part of the Jeffrey Epstein crowd, of which there's pictures of him. Although a few people from the Clinton era remembered him, and there's a quote doing the rounds where somebody simply refers to him as, quote, a moron, which is in some respects quite a compliment. It implies that he's simply a buffoon rather than calculated, and yet also on the wrong side of history when it comes to just about everything. I remember a cartoon back in the day when Peter Mandelson's career was compared to the, at the time, recent car crash that Princess Diana died in. I think there was also some story doing the rounds about him being flown into his new Hartlepool constituency and mistaking mushy peas for guacamole, so at least we might all get a good reverse story when he visits his colleagues at the Mexican embassy. Certainly he appears to think his job is to defend the EU and criticise President Trump, who will no doubt revel in the excuse to reward the lack of diplomatic tact with tariffs and grind the British economy into the dirt. And for what it's worth, there were so many other better candidates. If it had to be a Labour stalwart, they could have at least gone for Ed Balls, who is competent, has experience and contacts in America. He lived there for a bit. Or maybe kill 2 birds with one stone and send Greg Wallace. I mean, his TV career is over, but he knows a lot about canopies, and I get the impression that he'd quite like the diplomatic immunity these days. Anyway, see you next week. If you like these, click subscribe.